The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
Wrestling to the Max, Smackdown Review.
And hello and welcome to the Wrestling to the Max Smackdown live review. I'm Brandon Biskobing. Since I'm hosting, I'm the first one talking. That would make you think, hey, where's Harry tonight? Well, not sure exactly what Harry's doing, but he is unavailable tonight, so it's just Liz and myself. I think his girlfriend's in town. I think he told us last week.
Yeah, Harry's taking a little vacation.
A little hiatus for this week. So, but you're still in good hands. I'm Brandon Biskobing, and joining me tonight is Liz Pugliese. How's it going?
Pretty good. You?
Yeah, not bad. Still getting over my my infection, but I'm good enough to go this week. And since I was not on last week, let me just run down my thoughts on the SmackDown, the post-Mania SmackDown. I get why they did it, but Shinsuke versus AJ with an actual heel versus face dynamic, I know a lot of people are saying, oh, it makes for a more entertaining feud and everything. But I like the way they were going with it. I do kind of like what Shinsuke is doing right now with, I don't speak English. I wish they would do, I kind of get why they're not doing it, because then, all the fans that, complained about some of the stuff that Jinder was doing and whatnot would complain about it. But as long as you did it in a way where you knew it was him coming off with it and him doing it in his style and everything, like him just being like, me no speak the English, doing it very, funny would be great for him, and I think he could pull it off very well.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't think there's nobody I know disliked that, and he did it again tonight, which I just found hysterical.
But I know people would call it racist and everything, but make it more solid, like him, saying, like what I said, like the me no speak of the English, or have him put on, because I mean it's not really racist. It is, you hear it even in New Japan and stuff. They the Asian languages can't really say L's that well, and so it comes off as an R.
Right.
So you could emphasize that if you wanted to, and really put that on. I'm sure all of the listeners are like, "What are you talking about, you racist bastard?" No.
But is it really racist if he himself is doing it?
Exactly. No, I completely agree with that. Let's think. I'm trying to think. Oh, it was an interesting swerve seeing Jinder win the U.S. title. Granted, it's a moot point now, which I'm perfectly fine with. But,
me too. I was surprised by that. I was surprised by that as well.
And then having Randy beat, was it both Bobby and Rusev, or was it just Bobby last week? I forget.
It's just Bobby, I believe.
Okay. But still, why are you giving Orton this big push when you've got Bobby Roode right there? I mean, I kind of get it now because he got chipped off to Raw. But still, I feel like Bobby is owed so much more.
No, I definitely agree.
Let's think. Is there anything else I'm missing from last week?
Let's see. The Iconics.
Oh God! Don't get me started on that. Oh, and Paige being named SmackDown GM, which that also don't get me started on.
No, I'm with you there. I think last week I was like, oh, I'm glad that they, kept her on, found something for her to do. And I think I mentioned that a lot of it probably has to do with the movie about her that's coming out and everything.
Oh,
so we'll see.
I get why they're doing it. But the fact that now she is the, the main person on SmackDown, it's like,
I'm with you there.
But, it is what it is. I think that's pretty much it for last week's SmackDown. So let's move on for this week. Show opens up with a recap of Shinsuke's interview from last week and what happened last week in the main event, which had AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan, a dream match. I think everyone who saw that, yes, it's the Mania, or it's the SmackDown after Mania, but I think everyone who saw that were like, oh, there's no way we're getting a clean finish here. And we did. So, starting off, you've got AJ coming to the ring. He says that, he says you can tell a lot about a man through his failures, and he thinks that, Shinsuke's pretty much a you-know-what for, attacking him after the match. And he says he dreamed about having the match at Mania, and then he was successful. And then when Shinsuke failed, Shinsuke showed his true colors. He said he called Shinsuke a con artist, which was kind of funny. And then he basically sits there and says, Shinsuke, I want you out here face to face. I want to face you now. And instead of that, we get Rusev Day. I know you love Rusev Day. Go ahead.
Rusev Day.
I know you and Harry do the whole, it's Rusev Day. Yeah, no. Aiden does his whole shtick, and we get a match. And it's a very quick match, with Aiden almost immediately after the bell coming in and attacking AJ, which, obviously, officially it would go down as a disqualification and a win for AJ, but, doesn't really matter. AJ gets beaten down by Rusev Day, and then Daniel Bryan comes in and makes the save. And, I mean, I think we all know where this is going. It's the Tay Long special, or in this case, the Paige special, because she's the one that comes up with the idea. Because after that, we see Shane watching the match, and Paige comes in, and actually she does, well, she doesn't fully quote Tay Long, but she says, we're going to have a tag match tonight between Rusev Day and AJ and Daniel Bryan later tonight. And Paige even puts a holla out there. So she does pretty much quote Tay Long. She brought out her inner Tay Long tonight. What do you think about this whole opening thing?
The AJ part of it was a lot more entertaining than the Paige and Shane part of it, though. Her catching him doing the
that was great. Him dancing, and then she walking in again and being like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, that was funny. I liked it. Apparently, Aiden barks a lot now, which is interesting. But the opening was good. It set up the show. It set up the main event.
Yeah, it set up the main event,
which is all it really needed to do.
Yeah, that's kind of what you expect from a lot of these shows. Is that the opening segment always sets up the main event.
Yeah, I want the show to open with a match.
What?
It's like, oh, this is novel. I said one day the show will open with a match and we won't know what to do.
That will never happen again in WWE history.
I know.
So after that, we get coming back from commercial. We get Shelton Benjamin coming out, him saying that that he that he claims his Twitter got hacked, and the message he sent wishing good luck to Chad Gable over on Raw was not his, and that he no longer needs Gable, and yada yada yada, heel turn. Well, not really a heel turn because they were heel on SmackDown anyway, but a bigger heel turn for him as a singles competitor now. And he's out there and he says, I asked Paige for a match tonight and, I'm going to get it. Randy Orton's music hits and you're thinking, okay, Randy versus Shelton. Okay, that's not bad. And then Jeff Hardy's music hits and we get the new United States champion, Jeff Hardy, coming into the ring and they have a match. First off, I'm glad that they didn't just rehash and this would be a running gag where they swapped mid-card titles every year.
Mm-hmm.
But, what do you think of this?
I think it was after yesterday. I think everybody kind of expected Jeff to be the one to move over.
Yeah.
They spent so much time building up Monday Night Rollins and everything. It made sense, and plus you could kind of tell they were trying to get Matt and Jeff a little bit separated with the whole Bray thing. So it wasn't unexpected. I actually didn't expect them to come out for that match. And I admit to be like, oh my God, Jeff.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting him to come out that early.
Yeah, no, me either. But it was nice. It was unexpected. Randy looking at him like, yeah, okay, whatever. It was kind of funny. Randy showed more emotion. Excuse me, in that moment than he has in weeks, I think.
Yeah. And then we get the match between Hardy and Benjamin. Pretty solid match. Nothing really spectacular. Hardy gets the win with a Swanton Bomb. And, anything on the match?
No, I have to admit, I was actually a little bit disappointed in it.
Yeah, I mean, but it was kind of a mashup match on a SmackDown.
Yeah,
I have a feeling that I have a feeling that this isn't the end between these two.
Oh no, definitely not. But Jeff is Jeff, but Shelton is capable of a really good match. So hopefully we'll see that in the coming weeks from them.
Mm-hmm. So then we get one of those hand cam promos that we've been getting on Raw and SmackDown lately for The Miz, talking about Daniel Bryan and saying, I'm not just any superstar. I am The Miz. I am the most must-see guy, yada, yada, yada. I'm not just going to show up on the same night as everyone else. Next week will be my premiere on SmackDown again. And talks a little crap about Bryan and all of that. It was kind of funny having him say, him talking about if Bryan ever trolls him on Twitter again, he'll kick his ass, and then Marie's being like, hey, don't curse in front of the baby.
Yeah, she's like, language. Yeah, that was really cute. That was really cute. I made the comment to somebody. I was like, they showed the baby on Twitter, and I'm like, oh, I like that they didn't, because Daniel and Brie actually did this, where it was this whole, are they going to show her? Are they not going to show her? Was she going to be debuted on Total Bellas? I like that they just had her. Obviously, they don't have to show their children, but I like that they didn't do like this whole big, crazy reveal thing.
Yeah.
Just, oh look, get a baby.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's probably a little trickier for, well, maybe not, because they've done. I mean, I shouldn't be talking about after what happened at WrestleMania, but it would be kind of interesting it would be kind of interesting and funny to see like a whole family match. Like, obviously you can't do it now, but like in 7, 8, 9 years, 10 years, have a whole family match between the Danielson or the Bryans and the and the Mizanins, or whatever you want to call them. You know.
Yeah, that would be hysterical.
Because they both had girls, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it could work.
Yeah.
You know, Brian and Miz against each other, Brie against Maurice, and then Birdie against what's their
Monroe.
Monroe. Okay.
Ridiculous names, but whatever.
Hey, it's not as bad as Birdie.
Oh, Birdie's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress.
Moving on. We get a little thing on the screen saying Absolution has been moved to SmackDown, which isn't surprising. I called it last night on the Raw review that I have a feeling that they're gonna do something where like Paige is gonna give them some preferential treatment.
Yeah, I can see something like that coming up, or where she pretends that she's not, or something like that, or it'll be interesting.
Yeah, pretends around Shane that she's not, but in reality she is.
Right.
Then we've got Jey Uso versus Luke Harper match. Pretty quick match, with Harper winning with the discus lariat, and continues attacking him. And this is kind of interesting that, I don't think we've ever seen before. Well, we saw it the last time I can distinctly think about it happening was all the way back in, like, I want to say, like, 2012, when they had the whole thing with Zack Ryder and Eve Torres. But Naomi comes out and, like, protects Jimmy and makes sure that, like, they don't continue attacking him.
Yeah, that kind of, it was surprising for me. When she ran out, it kind of harked back to, I guess, like a little bit of I don't want to say the Attitude Era, but when, the women were like more valets and they were more romantic angles of, what going on. You definitely haven't seen it, and I couldn't remember the last time I saw that happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the way that Luke kind of looked at Eric and was like,
what do I do here?
Yeah, like, okay, we'll back off. We're crazy, but we don't hit women.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, did you have any other thoughts on this?
No, it was a pretty quick match. It was exactly what you expected was going to happen with the Bludgeon Brothers, coming out. And I'll be interested, though, to see if Naomi plays any further part in it.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing about that is, I don't really see how.
Me either, but before we do move on, somebody actually pointed this out to me. Obviously, you're going to be concerned about your husband, but she completely ignored her brother-in-law. Like, okay, go beat him up. We'll leave my husband alone.
Well, of course, you're going to be like, I'm protecting my husband first. You're on your own, dude. So then after that, we've got Sin Cara in the ring, waiting for an opponent, and we get Samoa Joe! Samoa Joe's on SmackDown. A pretty solid match and a quick match, not really all that surprising. Joe wins with the Coquina Clutch, and then goes off on a tear on the mic, saying that, something that I forgot to mention. Going back real quick to the beginning. Did you notice the Rusev Day mic flag?
No.
No, you didn't?
I have to go back and watch that. No.
Yeah, apparently they now have a Rusev Day mic flag for them. For Aiden.
I have to go back and look.
Yeah, it says, like, Happy Rusev Day in the colors on it.
Yeah, no, I gotta go look.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. I was like, wow, they may actually be doing something with them. The fact that they're actually making them their own mic flag.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to this match, we get Samoa Joe versus Sin Cara. Pretty quick match with Joe winning with the coquina clutch. And then Joe gets on the mic and basically says, everyone's had it easy here. This isn't the land of opportunities. This is the land of handouts. And now it's, now the fun's over. And I'm here to destroy. Pretty prototypical Samoa Joe type promo. I kind of hope that we get a situation kind of like with Joe with Regal now, where like he's like almost threatening to beat Shane up half the time and just going on rampages.
When he first came out, for me, I was surprised because obviously the whole thing going on with Joe and Roman, I'm like, okay, this is weird. They're just gonna drop it, but obviously he addresses it and he's not letting it, letting it go. I totally missed, I'll be honest, where he was added to the Intercontinental title match.
I completely forgot about that too because I saw your comment on there like Intercontinental what, and then like because I was a little bit on a delay on my feed, so I didn't hear it until after I saw the comment on the chat, and then he said it out, and I was like, yeah, you fucked up, but no, then it was like, oh. Right, he is in that fatal 4-way ladder match at the Greatest Royal Rumble, and it completely slipped my mind. So that really shows how much how little they've paid attention to that match at the Greatest Royal Rumble. All of this advertisement and everything for, the Greatest Royal Rumble and for the Universal title match and even all of the back and forth and hype for the Rusev versus Undertaker match, but no one has really been talking about this Intercontinental Fatal 4-Way Ladder match.
Yeah, no. I actually saw it for the first time in an ad. I think that played during Raw.
Yeah, I saw it during the ad, but it still kind of just slipped my mind.
Yeah, it still kind of. I was like, well, and when I first started, I was like, well, maybe because it was going by so fast, I was like, maybe the Joe thing was something else, and But the way he phrased it, I kind of thought like, oh, did he just tell us he's winning by mistake, or is he just saying he's, whatever? It was a little confusing.
Yeah. And he uses Reigns' tagline at the end and says it kind of funnily. I think he said like "believe that" or something like that, and making fun of
Roman,
mocking the way Roman says it. So yeah, I mean, I was perfectly fine with this whole segment.
Yeah, totally.
Definitely got Joe, that heat that he needs, and definitely puts him up there as a top contender in the singles division on SmackDown.
Yeah, definitely, because he's being cheered against Roman. Roman.
Yeah,
so
pretty much everyone is cheered against Roman.
I know, but he's on Raw yesterday saying pretty much similar things in a way that he's saying here now, and he's like, Joe, and now it's like, boo.
Well, but I mean, it's also going to depend upon. Well, I mean, this crowd wasn't much different because they're in a very similar area, but it's going to depend upon what they're saying. But certain guys just get cheers more than others. Like Joe is one of those guys that a lot of people like.
Oh yeah, totally.
So
absolutely.
I don't distinctly remember, but I'm sure there were still some cheers during this segment.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Then we get this weird. I know we saw it last night, but I still hate it for multiple reasons. That whole music video promoting the co-branded shows.
Yeah, I don't understand why they have them in the recording studio and then they're lip syncing it. I don't expect them all to be able to sing or anything, but it just seems weird.
It is. It really is. I mean, I don't like the concept to begin with because I know that's at least for me that's just the beginning of the end for the brand split. But, then to toss in this really crappy music and, this really weird music video, no.
Yeah.
Then we get a Vision announcing Sanity's arrival on SmackDown. I did go back and watch it, and I saw they very quickly flashed Sanity up on the screen, so I guess they will still be called Sanity. But without seeing that, it made it seem like they're going to be called Chaos on on the main roster. Which I think a certain very powerful faction in Japan may have an issue with that.
Yeah, there was some discussion of that going on in the chat. I missed when it first popped up, but then when they did the recap, it very clearly said Sanity.
Sanity. Okay, so that's good. Yeah, I saw that as well. But yeah, I mean, Sanity is probably one of the best team. Oh, did you notice that apparently Nikki Cross is not part of this?
Yeah, that was. I don't know where they're going with that. Maybe they don't feel she's ready, or maybe they're gonna, rebrand her into something else. But
Or
they
I
really
think
don't.
it's just that they don't because they don't do really in spite of mixed match challenge, they don't really do much mixed matches. So they
Yeah,
especially in Vince's brain, he doesn't understand the reasoning behind having a female as part of a faction.
yeah. No, I was just gonna say that they've kind of gotten away from that. There's no more mixed factions. I don't think Titus Worldwide really counts too much
Yeah,
there.
because she's more of just kind of a manager, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's been any others in the recent future. The last one that I can distinctly think of, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you can think of one that's more recent, but the last one I can distinctly remember is Straight Edge Society.
Yeah, actually, I was going to go further back than that. So you're more recent than I am because I forgot about Serena. I was thinking of Right to Censor or whatever they
Oh
were
yeah,
called.
that's way back.
That's way back. Yeah, I forgot about
Yeah, no,
Serena.
yeah, Serena was in Straight Edge Society for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So then after that, we get Daniel Bryan walking backstage, and he's in an interview. He says he respects AJ, and he says that he's made a list of wrestlers that he wanted to face, and AJ was at the top of that list. He wants to prove to himself that he hasn't, and to everyone else that he hasn't lost a step. But Shinsuke ruined that. And he's proud to fight alongside AJ tonight. And that he'll get another chance to face him. And then we get another big reveal where Big Cass shows back up. And, in very prototypical Vince McMahon-esque style, he looks at himself, sizes both of them up, and is like, really? This is what all the fuss is about? And it says he's a little man, and yada, yada, yada. Yeah, we all know how the big cast thing is gonna go. And I know it's not going to happen, but they need to repackage him.
Yeah, they really do. They need to let go of the, New York.
They need to.
Jersey Shore-esque person.
Yeah.
And
well, because all it does for fans who have known him his whole career is they think, when you think Big Cass, you think Enzo. And especially with how that whole thing went down, Big Cass, in spite of what they tried to make everyone believe during their whole feud last year, he was second fiddle to Enzo. So him attacking Enzo automatically made him the most hated guy in wrestling.
Right.
And so, like, if you don't still, like, I get they want him to be a heel, but if they don't want the X-Pac go away heat, they have to repackage him. Because at this point, I don't really care about him. I just think, you're a jerk. I don't care about you. Just go away.
Right. It was completely, for me, it was completely random for him, that whole stupid height thing,
Well, I
with,
mean, come on. It's Vince McMahon. What do you expect?
no, I know, height thing with Daniel. And it was just like so random because he's not, when he left, he wasn't at that Daniel Bryan level. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If it was like Joe or, whoever,
Yeah.
confronting him backstage, it would have had much more of an
Mm-hmm.
impact.
Well, but, I mean, that's all. I mean, even back when he was with Enzo, and even before that when he was in
Mm,
NXT, that's really all he's ever had to use in his favor. And, lucky for him, he's got a boss who just absolutely goes crazy over that. But, in the grand scheme of things, that's all he really has. He doesn't have any real charisma. He doesn't really have any personality of his own. Um, it's just, oh yeah, I'm a tall guy, and that's all you need to know about me.
yeah, no, I agree. They definitely need to work on something with him. I definitely think not a tag team because you don't want to pigeonhole him and you want to
Yeah.
give him an
And
honest
not
shot.
only that, I don't think, like, most people, myself included, if you went to a tag team, it just would not feel right.
No, I think he would have benefited from, I don't want to say like working with Dolph maybe instead of, Drew, which was completely random in
Yeah,
itself.
that was
Um,
completely random.
I think, and not and not to be put in the same position he was with, Enzo, like, oh, here's the big guy, to beat everybody up for me. But I think they could have did more with Dolph Cass than Dolph Drew.
I'll give you that because you could have, honestly, you could have gone kind of the, while it doesn't fully work because it's not the same sort of dynamic and, Dolph isn't a younger up and coming guy.
Hmm.
Um, you could have kind of done a Sean Diesel type of uh thing with them.
Yeah, yeah, which you can't do with him and Drew.
Yeah.
Now, if Drew had confronted Daniel in the back,
Mhm.
totally,
Yeah.
totally different. I think it would have been much bigger. Well, I don't think there was really any reaction to it. I think it would have been a better segment. But
Yeah.
who am I?
Oh no, I
Anyway.
I would have to agree with you. But like I said, I think unless you just want that pure go away heat of,
Hmm.
we do not care about you um because you're not with Enzo. I don't even know really what they can do with him because even if they do completely change his gimmick, change his name, change everything about him, people would still know who he is.
Right.
Um, but honestly, especially with how things went, I am honestly shocked that they did not try to change him in some way to distance themselves from Enzo.
Right. At least that we haven't seen yet. I mean,
But he's
I think
still calling himself Big Cass, so
yeah. Well, they could always work in something like,
yeah,
oh, whatever. I mean, I'm trying to be a little bit optimistic,
yeah, yeah.
but
But we'll
I think,
we'll see about that.
yeah.
Next we get Carmella making her entrance for the championship celebration. We've got the ring all decked out in leopard print because she loves leopard print still, even though that. And again, I'm surprised that they allow her to keep that. Um, and she's got a pedestal and everything. Um, and says, if you didn't support me before, you can't support me now. She's the moonwalking, trash-talking princess of Smackdown Live. And she then proceeds to pull a Camp WWE. Have you watched that?
I saw some of it, but I haven't seen all of it.
Did you watch the episode where they go on they get paired up on teams and they go on this nature thing?
No.
This survival thing? That's the best episode. You should look it up
I'll
and
look
watch
it
it
up
because it's great. But one of the running gags in the whole thing is that John Cena, mini little kid John Cena, keeps on naming things. And they're like, why are you naming things? He's like, I name everything that helps me. And that's exactly what Carmella is doing right here. Naming her briefcase, I forget what stupid name she called it.
Cleopatra.
Frankie.
Oh, briefcase is Frankie, the
Yes.
belt is Cleopatra.
And the title is now Cleopatra.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you are the new mini John Cena, Carmella. Congratulations. And she talks about how she waited for 287 days to wait for the right spot. Yada, yada, yada. Charlotte comes out, says, her title reign is going to be a lot like her memory, short. We get a highlight reel of her winning the briefcase and her winning the title and all of that. And, she says, she calls her out directly. Says, the only reason why you even had the briefcase was because of James Ellsworth, which is true. And the only reason why she cashed in was because of Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. But Charlotte understands and respects it, and, because she knows that her dad and herself at times were the dirtiest players in the game. And she says, congratulations, but it's much harder to stay on top than it is to get on top. And then, of course, the iconic duo, or iconics now, I guess they're just being called, come out and say, why are you blaming us for your problems? And they start mocking her and everything. And then they end up attacking, and then Becky Lynch comes out and makes the save. And I was expecting a tag team match playa, but we get a one-on-one match between Billie Kay and Charlotte. First, what do you think of the whole segment?
It was extremely long, because even after the match was over, it continued. I think that was the most airtime the women have received in a long time. The segment in itself was okay. The Iconics, who, as I say every week, I don't watch NXT, the Iconics, I think, are probably going to prove themselves to be on the main roster the two women who are best on the mic. I think in the little bit that I've seen them,
that's definitely their best skill.
Yeah. Blow everybody away on that, which to me, mic skills are important.
And go ahead.
No, so the rest of it was, pretty standard stuff.
Mm-hmm. The one thing about the Iconics coming up is if they're trying to eventually build a tag team division for the women, that's going to be a key. Because they're one of the few, they're basically like Lay Cool were back in the day.
Yep. Agreed. I was trying to think of who they reminded me of before.
Either Lay Cool or the Bellas, pretty much.
Oh no, they definitely are like the Bellas, but they look like they could be their sisters.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, but they have much more personality than the Bellas.
Mm-hmm. So then we get like I said, Billie Kay versus Charlotte. Decently long match, honestly, which was kind of surprising. I guess, like you mentioned, they are gonna try to push the iconic duo a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And then it ends up getting a Charlotte win. Before Carmella attacks from behind, Becky Lynch comes in to try to make the save, but gets attacked by Peyton. Carmella and Peyton are both attacking Charlotte and Becky, and I think you were expecting it as much as I were. You're like, ooh, is this a time where you're gonna get like a surprise trade person?
Mm-hmm.
Technically, I guess this does count because she never officially moved over to Raw, but we get the confirmation that Asuka is on SmackDown now, and she comes out to save Charlotte and Becky. We get a bunch of Taguchi attacks, what I like to call her hip attacks, because Taguchi does it just as well, if not better. And she does all of her moves. And the faces are able to clear the ring. What do you think about this whole thing?
Yeah, you definitely expected somebody else to come out. I mean, it was dragging on forever, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
it wasn't all bad. I'll say that, because we all know I'm usually pretty harsh on most of the women's segments. It wasn't all bad, not by a long shot. I didn't understand why Becky came out, because I thought she wasn't friends with Charlotte anymore. I don't know. I get a little confused, but maybe she was.
No, I think she is.
Oh, is she? I don't even know
Yeah,
anymore.
she's been friends with Charlotte for a while now.
Oh, has she? Anyway, it gets all confusing because I don't really pay attention to it. But I actually kind of expected Bayley to come out.
Who?
But Asuka worked, obviously, and it makes sense that they moved Asuka over, because if they're gonna try to still push her as so dominant and such, then you really have to get her off the same show as Ronda.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you on Bayley. I was half expecting it to be Bayley as well, but I guess it's kind of like with KO and Sammy, where they don't want to separate the two.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. We get a video package saying that the club is being moved over to SmackDown, which I'm a little disappointed in. Although maybe this means that we may get some Demon again.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, throughout I'll touch on it at the end there, because we go through it in order. It really seems like they're building up the tag division again, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah. I like it.
Me too.
Yeah. SmackDown seems to be the land of tag teams.
Mm-hmm.
At least more cohesive tag teams. Instead of just haphazardly thrown together tag teams.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get some hype for the Greatest Royal Rumble. We get another tag team getting moved over. As apparently the Bar is on SmackDown now. They get a hand cam promo saying, how many times they've won the Raw Tag Team Championship, and say, how do you think we can do against SmackDown's tag teams? And they say they're coming to SmackDown. What do you think? That's the one thing about these shows that I'm not a huge fan of, is that, like, especially for, like Samoa Joe and now the Bar, it pretty much telegraphs who's going to win at the next pay-per-view.
Not only that, I mean, I think it telegraphs who's going to win at this Avermania, thing that's going on, because the Bar is taking on Matt and Bray. I think is for the belts, titles, whatever you want to call them. So obviously either they're going to win and have to drop them, or they're not going to win them. And I think, I'm guessing that they weren't on the show live, because I believe they're on the way to sorry, something's beeping. I have no idea what. On their way to a show in South Africa, I think. But I was surprised, but I wasn't surprised. A lot of people were talking about that they thought they were going to move them over, and I like it. I think, like we were just saying, that the tag division on SmackDown is stronger, much more cohesive, and it'll be interesting to see the Bar, I think, versus the Bludgeon Brothers.
I was half expecting the Revival to move over because, I was thinking that, SmackDown was going to be the land of the, pure, always been together tag teams, and then Raw being the land of the mix match, the mismatch tag teams. But we got one of the mismatch tag teams moving over to SmackDown tonight. After that, we get New Day walking backstage. Big E riding piggyback on someone, which was funny. We get what?
That was hysterical.
Yes, it was. We get R-Truth. We see R-Truth for the first time in a while, which was cool to see. And then Ty Dillinger comes in. And you wouldn't know because you don't watch NXT, but I don't know if, I guess these two were like a tag team or something in NXT for a bit.
I was wondering.
Yeah, I was wondering how do they know each other? They do that secret handshake. It was funny. And then R-Truth says that he's happy they're all together on Monday Night Raw, and Xavier's like, dude, it's Tuesday. It's SmackDown. And he does his whole... I wish he would have said the whole thing, but we just get a, my bad, and then nothing else. I wish he would have said, my bad, that's on me. And he says that he'll see everyone tomorrow, which I don't understand fully. And Dillinger is even like, is he gonna be okay? And New Day's like, nope, he's never okay. This was just a good, funny segment.
Yeah, it really was. I loved seeing R-Truth, who happens to follow me on Instagram for some reason.
Who?
Under R-Truth.
Really?
Under one of his other accounts for his music. Yeah, it's kind of fun. It was really quickly. It was really funny. Like, one day randomly, like, it popped up R Killings, whatever his last name is.
Right,
yeah. I don't know if there's an S at the end.
Yeah, there is.
Like some random photo of bread or something that we made. I was like, that is so funny that's, whatever. But, and then I clicked on the account and a lot of people were commenting, and then I saw it followed me. And it turns out it is actually really him because it was up on his Twitter. I was like, okay, that's weird, but whatever. It was funny to see that he's actually, still employed there.
Yeah. It's nice to see R-Truth. I've always been an R-Truth fan. So.
Me too. Like, I got a big kick out of it. I like the little hawk back to the old, my bad.
Hey, it's kind of funny that I just made Harry play that whole clip a couple of weeks ago, and now he's back on TV and he's saying it again.
I know, I thought of that actually. And with New Day saying no, he's never, right? And I think I'll see you tomorrow was just their way of going with the, he doesn't know when anything is or where he is.
He's like completely delusional and doesn't understand what day of the week it is or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, R-Truth is always great. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
like
he's great.
One of the best moments was when he was in the Royal Rumble and he brings out a ladder and climbs up the ladder.
Yeah.
He's like, huh? Where's the briefcase? This isn't Money in the Bank?
Yeah, it just doesn't seem corny when he does it.
No. The way he does it doesn't make it seem corny or campy. It's just him being a wacko.
Right, exactly.
We get a thing saying that Andrade Cien Almas is headed to SmackDown. Ugh. And we get Zelina Vega cutting a promo about how they're going to take over and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. as we've said 10,000 times, I don't watch NXT, but to me it kind of seemed like
Do you want me to explain Almas in a nutshell?
yes, please.
Pretty much think a Mexican version of old Miz when Maurice was there. Just instead of Maurice just like getting up and like spraying, hair product into someone's eyes or something like that, Vega is actually getting herself fully involved and doing Hurricane Ranas and stuff like that on guys, but then they can't do anything back.
I gotcha.
Yeah, you will get infuriated very, very quickly.
I appreciate the heads up.
Yes, just forewarning you. So we get AJ coming in for the main event, and get the entrances for the main event. AJ and Daniel versus Rusev Day. A pretty solid match, nothing, too crazy. They're not going to give away, anything crazy. It was kind of funny, like, I've been starting to watch a little bit of MMA and every now and again, and watching and playing one of the UFC games, and like I wouldn't have known, and probably a lot of the the purely wrestling fans didn't even know what the hell he was talking about when Corey Graves called the Yes Lock an omoplata.
Corey always is good for a little something special.
Yeah. Yeah, well, let's see. First, last night he called Balor Club Bullet Club.
I know, right? Sometimes you wonder, like, is he doing it on purpose?
Did you see? Did you see the comment or the tweet that Balor put out, and then that Corey responded to earlier?
No.
Balor was like, he did his whole shtick of, Balor Club's for everyone, yeah. And Corey was like, yes, I know you're a very popular man. Please stop creating factions. Which he's not wrong about, because Balor did create Bullet Club too, so it works in multiple ways. But yeah, this was a pretty solid match, and then at the end we get Nakamura coming out and low blowing AJ on the apron, and then Big Cass comes out and hits a big boot on AJ, or not on AJ, on Daniel, excuse me. And we don't get any full announcement, but presumably AJ and Bryan win by DQ. And Nakamura and Big Cass stand tall over AJ and Daniel Bryan. And then we get, again, AJ being interviewed and saying he doesn't speak any English, and that's the show. Like I said, solid match. I have a feeling this is headed towards AJ and Daniel facing off against Shinsuke and Big Cass at some point. There is one odd man out in that match, and we all know who it is. But Rusev? It is what it is.
Wait, who's the odd man out?
Who do you think?
Cass?
Yes. You have three great workers and then Big Cass.
This is the part of the show that I was waiting for, where I can go back to a little bit more ago. I obviously do not understand why he is, there.
Because it's Vince McMahon's company still.
Yeah, fine. Okay, we can blame Vince, but there's a lot of other people, there as well. He's definitely not in their league, in any way, shape, or form. Aiden, is better in my opinion, than he is. I liked the main event because I liked seeing Aiden, who's really grown on me, getting some, pretty decent work, not just slapped around for the hell of it or whatever. It doesn't make sense. I'm going to be that person that's been like, okay, it should then be, Rusev and Nakamura. Right now, it doesn't make sense, and I could be wrong, of course. I don't really see it lasting. I think he's gonna end up disappearing and being repackaged pretty quickly.
See, on one hand, I want to believe you. I want to say that you're right, but
I'm hoping, Brandon.
I just have a bad feeling that this is basically gonna be like he's basically gonna be the
Roman.
Smackdown version of Roman, except for the fact that he's actually a heel.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Rating for tonight?
Because I actually had quite a few moments of, the Jeff, the Samoa Joe, the bar. We all know I'm a big bar fan. That did not sound right at all. I'm gonna give it, and because it actually held my attention, and other than a couple of what the hell are they doing here, spots, I'm gonna go a 7.5 because it really kept my attention tonight.
I'm gonna give it a 7 just because yeah, there were some moments that were cool, like seeing Samoa Joe and his whole promo and whatnot. But there were also a lot of head scratchers. So yeah, I'll give it. I'll be nice and give it a 7. One word review.
One word. Okay. It's because Harry's not here. I'm gonna do 2 words because
Okay.
I can't think of one word that fits it. But forward moving. It moved things along.
Okay. I'm gonna be very simple and also be very cliche. I'm just gonna say shake up.
Yeah, that's perfect. Can't really get any better than that.
Yeah, pretty much. That'll just about wrap us up for SmackDown, but we will be back in a bit for 205 Live. See you guys in a little bit. Bye.